Greece, that's a very, very different story. They've had some struggles getting into the places that they deserve to be in, and at some point, I think in the last Open is when I kind of really considered to be them to be the dark horse, and I was thinking, okay, Renatus White, they have a chance here to make an upset, to maybe get second place, to maybe even take out Celeste. Unfortunately, it wasn't just the case for them. But this time, with the shifting, the balance of power, when things are going completely different from how we expected, this is the opportunity for them to rise to the occasion.
We were talking about the power vacuum and everything else. But before we head into the game, of course, let's put faces into those IGNs as we look into the rosters of the teams that we are going to see here in the fight for today. First of all, we have a Hashira, a name or a holding name here already in FSL and even in other tournaments as well. Kachao, Minji, Ki, Japeeps, Plucky, and Yumi. Who are the players to look after or to look forward here in this lineup, Ilu?
Like the number one player every single time you talk about these guys, it's got to be Japeeps. Japeeps is the Japeeps show. She's been a fantastic player, IGL all throughout, ever since the inception of Hashira. Now, another player you have to watch out for here, Kachao, doing a lot better in her roles. You know, she's had a lot of great performances as that Jet, and she's just constantly growing as a player. Definitely one of the younger players on the roster, but still making such impact for her team. So those two, definitely keep an eye out for those guys.
We also have Renatus White right here, Envious, Rue, Mochix, Kohaibi, and K Aphrodite, which I recently remember Hey I'm Quack calling Clutch Aphrodite. It's some sort of way.
Clutch for Aphrodite is actually the term, you know, Kia and I actually came up with this, like, I think two opens ago. Because just the amount of clutches that she was able to take under her belt was absolutely ridiculous. And that transition, that transpired all the way up into the last open. I'm expecting no less from the goddess of clutch here, and that's Clutch for Aphrodite.
Oh, that's definitely true. And we are bound to see what they are going to do. And looking at it as well, if we take a step back and just see the bigger picture between these two teams that we have right here, Hashira versus Renatus White, what are your expectations moving towards the match that they are going to have? And also, I just wanted to ask, of course, with Renatus White, we talk about that they can make a play happen. They can make plays happen, strategies happen. What are they lacking towards that goal into getting actually into the top of the leaderboards that we have right here?
What I really want to see here from Renatus White is that they rely a lot on a lot of those rounds go down to Clutch for Aphrodite, and a lot of those rounds also come down to Kohaibi. So individually, yeah, they're amazing. They have that skill, they have the tenacity, they have the aim. But however, they need, I think, a little bit more synergy and a little bit more time to clean things up and really truly be able to get things going as a whole team, as a whole unit.
And looking at it as well, if we take a step back and go back yet again, what are you expecting when it comes to the both of the teams? We set our expectations with regards to a solo when it comes to the solo teams that we have right here, Renatus White and Hashira. But this is the game that we are looking for, and this is the game that we are going to be watching. Let's talk about the map veto as well before that, and let's see what we can say about these two matchup teams that we have right here. Let's see the map veto. Oof.
Well,
there you
all
go.
Right. So we're starting with Split, and we're following it up with Icebox Innocent here. So Split is a map that Hashira are very, very confident on. And I'm not going to be surprised if they actually take a win here. Icebox, however, it's going to be a little bit shaky for them. Renatus White have been so dominant on Icebox ever since way back when. This is a map that they truly know to rely on, and I definitely think if things are going to shape up, I think this is going to be a map that really determines the series here, because honestly, Hashira, they can play on this map a little bit too, but if they can bring the heat, if they can bring the thunder up against a team like Renatus White on this one, it's going to be a 2-0.
Have some players popping off, the teams or the players that we are looking forward to see and to actually watch here as well in the certain maps that we have. Split is such a 50-50 map, especially when it comes to strategy-wise gameplay for the teams that we are seeing right now. But Icebox...
Look, here's the thing, Taylor. We go to the last map, and this is one of the most important things. Funny enough, the deciding map, Ascent, is actually the best map of Renatus White. They have an 86% win rate on it with 6 wins and 1 loss. You know, it's not the biggest of sample sizes, sure. But at the same time, an 86% win rate, that is definitely something that they should be proud about. And Hashira, they haven't really found that much success on they haven't really found much success on Hashira either.
But the thing is, and quite interestingly as well, if they played a lot of Ascent maps, and if you take a look that
Right.
Renatus White, this is one of the maps that they can actually play as well. They have VODs for that. Maybe they studied up, they switch it
Yeah.
up, made something happen, tried to cancel out or try to even out the gameplay that we have right here. But that was just a map veto. It's the start of the match, basically. Choosing those maps will basically have an advantage towards your team or towards the other team. You never know. But right now, Ilu, do you have anything else to say predictions wise?
Yeah, okay, look, for me, it's got to be a 2-0 here for Hashira if they want to win.
Ooh.
Otherwise, it's going to be a 2-1 for Renatus White. I'm expecting here. I think Hashira can make it through. I think they can take a 2-0 here, but it has to be a decisive win on the first two maps.
Well, let's see if they're going to make it decisive with a 2-0 or is it going to be a 2-1 with Renatus White going in. But right now, I'm going to leave you with your partner. We have Key and Ilustrado to take it away as they cast the first game or the last series for today here in the English broadcast. Key and Ilustrado, rather, take it away.
Yeah, hey Key, what's up, man? Glad you're joining
Hey.
us. I mean, I know you're all the way in Breeze, but and you're taking time off your very busy, boating and fishing schedule to come out and hang out here with us in FSL. But it's nice that you finally managed to join us, man.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm excited to watch these two teams really go for this series between Renatus White and Hashira. You guys mentioned Hashira being a relatively newer team, already making it to playoffs 2 opens in a row against Renatus White, who has been considered one of the top, I would say, 3 teams in FSL Open thus far. So I'm really excited for this series, and it's just really, really great to see these teams compete over and over again and like get better with every single open.
Yeah, absolutely right. Hashira is one of those teams that has developed quite a lot in the past couple of weeks that we've seen them. I mean, I'd say came out in the first FSL a couple of FSLs ago. I think that was Open 5 where they first made their appearance, and they honestly got through a pretty, I'd say, easy bracket. It was one of the easier brackets to get into and qualify into the playoffs. But ever since then, their journey here, this time, it wasn't actually the easiest of paths. And so the fact that they have made it here time and time again, consistently in the playoffs, goes to show that there is something in this team that is keeping them alive. And that's a very good sign. However, Key, on the other side, Renatus White, they're seeing a little bit of problems with their form, aren't they?
Yeah, they in Open 5, I expected more from them. I actually thought that they would be the ones to reach the grand finals and give Alter Ego Celeste run for the money, but they just didn't really perform to what I thought they would, or what we thought rather, was going to be their performance level. But they have another chance to prove themselves just Open 6.
Yeah, okay. So let's talk a little bit about the matches of Renatus White here. These are a couple of the ones that I felt like have been a little bit underwhelming. Their loss actually in the playoffs in the lower bracket where they lost against Magnifique 2-1. And actually right before that they got a 0-2 up against Galaxy Racer. So this is where they sort of start to struggle because they can wreck every single team. But when it comes to the hard hitters, the Magnifiques, the Galaxy Racers, this is where they sort of start to struggle. Now, we're talking about Hashira, a team who's somewhat middling, a little bit in the middle. Not a top team just yet, but definitely not a step over team, a doormat of a team. Definitely not by any means. So this is where it starts to get a little bit interesting because both of these teams, they have a lot to offer. It's just going to be about who can play their game, who's going to be able to, take over the map and play their playstyle and make the other one dance to their tune.
Yeah, that's actually true. I mean, whoever controls the tempo, I think that's something that we haven't really talked about that much because typically some teams will be clearer than the other, but once two teams are more evenly matched, I think that's where the mind games come in. That's where the tempo play comes in. That's when seeing who has the better mental or more stable mental can actually run away with the series here.
And that's one of the things I think, Key, that might not be touched as often, especially when you're talking about these pro teams at this level here. The mental game is very important. You need that tenacity. You need that fortitude to be able to go into games that may be long drawn. And you don't exactly get this fortitude. You don't exactly get this high level of mental game until you have had that experience. Some players, some teams, they're born with it. They're good at having just no matter what, they'll be able to take over games. But when you're a new team, especially the new team on the block, it's easier to get into your heads. The timeouts are going to be very important here in a map like this. Being able to have a good support system in the form of your teammates, that's going to be important. Fortunately, I was able to have a little bit of a chat with the members of Hashira right before this, and they told me that, their confidence in each other and playing with themselves, playing with each other as a team, that has been truly developing lately. And when you have that chemistry, really being able to rely on your teammates, that's going to help your mental game massive amounts when it comes to games like this one.
Yeah, it really is a big difference. I think the word that you mentioned there that really resonated with me is the trust in your teammates. Because once you trust in your teammates, the losses don't matter as much. Like, there's no blaming here. Like, losses are accepted as it happens. You lose rounds, you lose an aim duel, but you trust your teammates to pick it up. Make sure that you try to get back the next round until you get that win. And that's something that's developed within the teams. And like you mentioned, experience is really important here, because being able to stay mentally tough even after a string of losses, or maybe losing against while you're an anti-eco, those can affect your mental. And if the teams are used to that and can get over that mental break, it's going to be a lot easier for them to string a few rounds in. And I really think that's a really important part of pro play that a lot of people tend to overlook.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, nowadays you're seeing a lot of the teams coming forward, and then they're, as the infrastructure develops, you get more and more of those teams with um, therapists and psychiatrists and psychologists that help with that mental game, because it's such a massive part that is often, I'd say underdeveloped, not just in a lot of players, especially because they're young, but just as adults in general, because we millennials and even the next generation are pretty messed up. But I'm not going to talk about that and dig up a little. I'm not going to dig up that can of worms. We do have. Okay, so here's the thing for Miki. So we have a very interesting situation that is unfolding before our eyes here. Renatus White, they're a team that has struggled to really make that form here. And for me, if you ask me what exactly is separating them from truly being the greats, I think it's really going. It really goes down to, I think, the strategies. You look at the strats that they have. A lot of them are good, but a lot of them fail in terms of the execution. I think a lot of it comes to the. I think most of it, excuse me, actually comes down to them not necessarily making the right reads all the time. And even though they have good strats, they kind of falter at the very last, the mid to the end times of each round. The only time that they really win those mid and late rounds from Renatus White has been historically when they have Kohaibi or Clutch for Daiti to rely on to carry those late game rounds. But if they can start off with better early round games, excuse me, they're going to have a lot of better performance from them.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. They do have the aim though, like you mentioned, they have the players to really go for it. What would really change it, and what separates Alter Ego Celeste, I would say, just to invoke their name yet again, from the rest of the teams, is how decisive they are in their executions, their reads. Like you mentioned, Renatus White are definitely no slouch of a team, but we've seen them be inconsistent because of these either failed reads or slower reads, and we're gonna have to see if they can keep that performance of improve that performance rather in this series against Hashira. We are going into the agent select soon, so we will be seeing what both teams will be drafting. Of course, it's gonna be split, and I already see a raise on Kohaibi.
Yeah, we've got a very much classic lineup here. It's split. This is Hashira's pick. They're very much known to be able to be, good on this. They take map wins away quite frequently here. And I wouldn't be surprised if they actually go ahead and take this one. Now, Renatus White, they're definitely no slouch on split themselves. They have a 67% win rate on it. It's not the best, but they definitely are capable of taking it when they need to.
Yeah, and they're playing a double duelist setup, so that was something different that Alter Ego Celeste brought up earlier today. Was a triple sentinel plus Sky as an initiator for the setup. So I think we mentioned this in the past two opens that we really wanted to see teams incorporate a double initiator more, or at the very least a hard flash. And it looks like on the side of Hashira, they have a KO just for that.
Well, we're starting with the game. Here we go, guys. The second series of the day. It is Hashira SR going up against Renatus White. These two teams very much familiar with each other. They've been in the scene for quite a bit. Hashira, the newer of these two teams, looking to prove themselves and make a mark in this in this open. One of the last few chances. They do want to get into wild card. They do want to get into elite. And that is what this is going to be all about. So here we go. We're starting it off here with Hashira on the attacking side. Renatus White, they're starting on the defensive side. Now, Key, this is what I want to point out. As we go and talk about the evolution of the meta here in Valorant, we're starting to see the resurgence of the attacking side strength and power in Split. And a lot of the games that we've been seeing, not just in local broadcasts, but also in regional broadcasts across Southeast Asia, the maps on Split have been going the attacking side's way.
Yeah, I think it's the combination of having new initiators. Remember, KO and Sky were not really there at the beginning of the game. Only Breach was the strong flash initiator at that point in time. And we don't even see Breach at this point in time on Split. But KO and Sky have been very effective at getting into the sites because of the flashes that they have.
Well, it's going to be a strong start, excuse me, from Kohibi as he does get a good kill with a paint shell onto Japeeps there. Kachao will get a response, and Plucky and Minji, they're doing work. They're getting the entries onto the sides of the pistol, proving to be very effective, deadly. Kachao not losing her nerve, very low on HP, but somehow still emerges victorious with another duel. Now, Clutch for Deity, 1v4. Doable as Plucky and Kachao are very much worse for wear here. Could get taken down by a strong breeze at this point, but see if she can actually land the shots that she needs. The turret will come up. That's going to allow her a little bit of presence, but I don't think there is going to be enough time here, especially because she has been walled off of this CT entrance. She's going to have to give up her position and shoot through this wall if she wants any time at all. I don't think she's going to make it, but definitely going to try here.
Yeah, it took a bit too much time there. Gonna take one out. The Nanoswarm damages her a little bit, tried to take as many as she can, but Key is gonna take her down, and Hashira get round number 1.
Yeah, round number 1 for Hashira, and for those of you who don't know, Hashira means pillar.
Oh, yeah, it's is it the actual Hashira from Demon Slayer?
Yes.
Oh, that's actually
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. They had 2 teams, right? And what were there 10 pillars in Demon Slayer?
Yeah. Oh, dude, that is there are 2 teams actually, so there
Right.
are.
Now it makes sense. Now it makes perfect sense.
It all falls into place here. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Round number 2, the eco does commence. And Renatus White, obviously going to be going on that full eco here. They're not going to try and force things up. Instead, they're going to try and make things expensive and maybe steal around for Hashira. This is going to be a test here for Hashira if they can keep their anti-ecos clean. Because if there are gaps in their offense, if there are gaps in their formations, this is one of the most expository places to do it, to find them for Renatus White on this anti-eco. Because they need a perfect run here, well, almost perfect at the very least. But it doesn't look like they're going to be given it because Kohibi's good for 1 here. So that's going to be another found by Key. That's a double for Key here. There are 2 players coming in from the flank. That's Clutch for Deity and Envious. So they are going to be working their way through mid and through B long. But with a classic, it's definitely going to be tough here as Plucky is holding that corner. Takes a couple of shots and eventually it's going to be enough, leaving it all yet again onto Keferdite.
Yes, she took Plucky's armor out, so that's still going to make her spend a little bit more. So I think you take what you can get here. Keferdite left again in a 1v4. This time around chooses to go by Heaven, does not get anyone else though, so that's going to be a relatively clean round from Hashira. Kachao did get taken down, but she only had a ghost on her.
In the end, it's a clean round for Hashiras. They're definitely going to be happy about taking that series. That round, especially that post anti-eco. It is now a full rifle buy for Renatus White, and this is going to be proving to be a little bit of a challenge as there are only Spectres on the Hashira side. This is the bonus round, and so they'll be happy regardless of the outcome, but they want to come out of this with a win. That's not going to be easy, but on a map like Split, it has shown that there are a lot of tendencies, a lot of propensities that a lot of teams have to be able to convert these eco rounds, these bonus rounds into wins. I wouldn't be wouldn't be surprised to see it go any differently if Hashira can make the right read on this, because they're grouping up towards A. They're gonna leave Plucky over there towards mid to be lurking. The stars do come out. Flashes in response here. Kachao will be going for that entry. He gets around the corner. Beautiful entry right there from Kachao, and it's followed up by Japeeps with a great trade onto Keferdite. That's already one player down here. The aggressive push for Kachao does not pay off. A little bit too aggressive, but with the Spectre, they were going to take that duel anyway. Japeeps will have nothing but a Spectre and 35 HP, so it's going to be a little bit of a tough hold here. And Japeeps is going to get checked and shut down by Rue. Now they've managed to work their way onto site, but they still have to deal with Key and Plucky, who are playing for those post plants. They have control over Heaven, but it is being smoked out. The defuse is coming in. They get it to half here, and they're going to swing wide on top of this. And somehow Plucky managing to get one right before she goes down, still has 2 members to find. And that Nano Swarm is actually going to be deployed. Not going to be enough to slow them down, but still, it's Key onto 10 HP, who will be taken down rather by Kohaibi. That's going to be a 2-1 victory. Hashira take a loss, but they have taken down 3 kills and gotten a spike plant with them. So that is one of the most successful bonus rounds you could actually ask for.
Yeah, it's a pretty good bonus round. I'm actually surprised that Hashira didn't bother going for the rifles, because Kachao didn't have a gun going into the bonus round, and typically we see teams go for that 1 or 2 rifles on the bonus round now as a new meta. But they made it expensive for Renatus White anyway, and it's now going to be the buy round versus buy round for them.
You know, one thing that I really appreciate, Key, is just the ever-evolving scene of Southeast Asia. Like, you talk about Southeast Asia and shooters back in history, and you go and look back at the times of RRQ dominance along with Bren in the CS era. But now, we're talking about sort of a renaissance and evolution. And you're seeing teams from no longer just Thailand and Indonesia, but Malaysia, Singapore teams, but Filipino teams. They're coming up and making a name for themselves. So this has really become an advent of a new age of FPS, and this is continuing yet again. We saw it on BCT Challengers SEA, where Bren and Paper Rex became the representatives, and this is giving us a little bit of a glimpse of what that looks like here, as Hashira and Renatus White, obviously 2 teams from those guys as well. But as I was talking a little bit about the history of these teams, we have managed to find our way into a 1v2. So, Japeeps to find 1. And yet again, Key, this is the player you want alive for these kind of clutch situations. Japeeps rarely misses a beat, has another flash in her hands as a nade. Swings a little too wide. Moshi X is good for it. 4 kills on her and Hashira. They take a loss and they bring us to 2-2.
Yeah, it's like you mentioned, we're starting to see a lot of Filipino and Singapore teams. I mean, Wildfire Sphinx is a Singapore team. Renatus White is a Singapore plus Malaysia team. Hashira is a Philippine team.
Oasis is a little bit of a mix of everyone.
Yeah, I mean, true Southeast Asian fashion. But Hashira, I've left the spike in the base.
Yeah, they're gonna go ahead and pick that up. They still got a little bit of time here, but yeah, we are again, like I said, in the advent of a new age, and I'm really enjoying the fact that this is a time and place within the timeline of Valorant, where it's so hard to predict how things are gonna go. A little bit of a misplay here as the dash goes a little bit over. Kachao goes through that smoke. Doesn't really find anyone, but it's a good shot from Minji to take one down as she does drop. Now it's 3 kills for Kohaibi. That's going to boost her confidence, and Hashira is going to be getting away out of that eco scot-free. So yeah, like we were saying earlier, Key, just the evolution of the meta here in the scene. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see really multinational teams all across Southeast Asia. You got Thai imports coming out from a couple of teams here. We saw that where I think it was Cerberus who had a Thai import. No, it wasn't Thai. It was Ego. Yeah, it was Ego who had a Thai import player. And I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see that all across Southeast Asia.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as a region, the whole region is just developing, and that's really exciting for me to see. And I think that, you know, we'll start to see a consolidation of power between the teams as it goes on. But like you mentioned, FPS is alive yet again in Southeast Asia because of Valorant, and it's truly a beautiful sight to see.
One of the very few times that we get to see that much support here from, again, just a game developer. And in Southeast Asia, we are very much grateful for the opportunity. Long have we waited, and now the time has come. But can Southeast Asia live up to the expectations? Get closer and closer to I'd say equilibrium. Hashira and Renatus fight 2 to 3. Now missing the timing, barely missing the timing. Envious is right there to capitalize. We'll be able to get the punish yet again, and Envious find a beautiful decisive blow onto Hashira on this round. This leaves Plucky in a 1v4. She's managed to sneak up and get underneath, but eventually she gets snuffed out as Envious drops down from heaven and is able to secure this round 2 to 4. Hashira is starting to slow down a little bit, having a little bit of problems. Renatus White, they're getting all the timings in their favor.
Yeah, that was really unlucky. She was checking the ropes, but the moment she turned around, Envious actually climbed up the ropes and even spotted her as she was turning.
Placing swarm grenade.
I mean, sometimes it do be like that, right? FPS games, timing is it's what happens.
Indeed. Sometimes in life, in love, timing is a very big deal here. But look at this aggressive play here from Envious. Lucky walking right into it. Chao missing all the plays here. Gets one more before she goes down, and that's Envious and Machi X mopping up, cleaning house here. Hashira have no response for it. A little bit of a missed opportunity there for Hashira, but still, Renatus White with a good hold, and that could have been the round. That could have been the round that Hashira needed to take us back into the game, but unfortunately, it just was not to be. They have enough to buy, however.
Yeah, it was an ego from them, but this blind was actually perfect. The knives also missing because of Envious's movements. Kachao getting taken down here, and Envious just didn't get punished because this smoke kept her safe, kept her alive there, and it's a clean round for Renatus White just because of that smoke.
Yeah, the utility truly coming into play here, being the star of that show, but I do have to say that last bullet kill from Gohaibi, very much sight to see, and something that you will want to look back on. That was a pretty tap here, but they're going to be fully committing here towards that B site, following the Cosmic Divide right now. They are splitting up into a B split here. Two players from Hashira working that mid angle, but Spike has already gone down. Kohibi getting a trade kill, and that's the backside secured for Kohibi, managing to get 1 and 2 as well. Now they're going to try to defuse the Spike, knowing that Hashira is well out of position. There's no way they can get back on this, and the mid play just falters and crumbles apart, and they do get a couple more kills. But in the end, the round's really starting to go Renatus White's way. They pick up a triple kill there onto Japeeps, but I wouldn't say they're the highest of impacts after that Spike has already been diffused.
Yeah, we were talking about tempo and basically getting into the heads of the other team. Hashira changed up the tempo there, was able to get into the site. That was a great execute by them, by the way. But you could tell that Kohibi so confident going in with a showstopper and really just going for a defuse right away. Renatus White are playing on an even faster tempo.
Yeah, Renatus are happy to match tempos with Hashira here, and they're just taking them to the woods right now and just ending them as Kohibi finds another kill onto Kachao. Kachao struggling a little bit to find the entries that they do need. It's going to be a res coming onto her. He around this corner. Spots the angle, doesn't win the duel. Very unfortunate right there, and the lurk play does not come off from Key. That could have been it. That could have been the early round advantage. And it seems like Hashira, I don't know if it's the nerves right now, but it seems that there are a couple of duels that they should be winning, but they just aren't. Like the one from Kachao a little bit earlier on,
yeah,
and that one from Key, which was, I'd say, essentially should have been a gift.
Yeah, it should have been a free kill right there, and that was the lurk that needed to happen. But right now, Hashira, they've already used the rest, and there's still one player down. It's gonna be difficult for them to get into the site.
Can they actually break onto the site? Because it's really looking like Renatus White have got a lock. The way that Renatus White starts the round, and if you pay attention, let's start with a little bit of aggression. Either towards A, mostly towards A, sometimes towards B main. And they usually get those kills. And this has been...
They slow it down after that.
They slow it down, and this has been preventing Hashira from getting any sort of momentum on this. It's going to be Minji, who does get the wall up. Envious will be taken down by Japeeps right there from heaven. He will get the spike off right before the timer does expire here, and there's going to be an ultimate from Japeeps. That's going to silence anybody right coming from Renatus White. So this is a pretty good chance here with a two-man advantage as Plucky finds yet again another kill from that heaven angle. They do have to work with Kohibi, who is pushing through A main, but swiftly dealt with by Minji, who will land a beautiful shot onto her, and it just leaves Rue here all on her own. The gravity well not really going to save her. It's actually going to be a deterrent for Kachao if they try to peek wide. Rue's still trying to make it expensive with 28 HP left. They're going to start that chase here. It's going to be plucky with the timing. Beautifully done. Hashira finally found a round after such a long drought.
Yeah, that was such a clean execute on the A side for them. I thought they wouldn't have the time for it, but that kill on Mochi X really opened the A side up, allowing them to get in and get that plant, which was all they needed to secure this round. And like you mentioned, Japips getting that kill onto Heaven as well. It was Envious, I believe, who tried to dash out but got clipped on the head there. Was really the kill that sealed the deal for them, and winning that round is really important because this is where you start wanting to break that tie, right? Like Renatus White, they have 6. You don't want them going more than 6 into the second half. As Envious opens with a frag onto Kachao, but Mochi X also gets taken down.
So it's a 1-for-1 exchange here, and they find Hashira. Okay, this is a good start because they managed to finally punish the aggression that's coming from Renatus White. Now, sure, they have taken a loss towards mid, but not being expecting of Envious in that position, that's gonna be an acceptable loss anyway, because a 1v1 exchange for the attacker still favors the attacker's side. Now it's all about how are they going to deal with this. In a 4v4, they're splitting their forces 3-1, leaving Plucky right now currently to hold that B angle. Eventually she will be rejoining with the rest of her team here. 1 minute left, and Hashira have to decide what they're going to do here. They have to trek all across mid here, and they might actually just leave Plucky for that lurk to cut off rotations towards that A site.
Yeah, they like leaving Plucky on the lurk, and to cut off any rotations, she's an Astra anyway, so she can put those stars down and still support her team from this far. As we see right now, the stars are being put down. Elbow is going to be smoked out, and they're going to clear those corners as the rest of Hashira funnel into the site, and they are going to get this plant spike.
Yeah, they did this before. It was successful. But they might actually know that Plucky will be yet again holding that late lurk, holding that late angle. Minji, not getting the timing, but does get the kill. Envious from above. The lockdown is going to force her out of position here, but it's still 8-2-1. As it's a triple kill from Envious, expecting Plucky, but Japeeps cannot clutch it. Envious with 4 kills on that round with the operator, dominating and taking things back as Hashira yet again forced the ego, and they will be pretty much in a very bad spot economically after that reset.
Yeah, it's like you mentioned, they knew that Plucky was going to be lurking, and Envious rather, was just looking down at her. She got flashed, but only by a little bit because she was already looking at the ropes.
Yeah, and they're aware of this play. They're aware of that split play that they are running with Plucky going in for a flank. So I think a little bit of change is in order here from Hashira. But what are they going to do? They have Envious looking for this aggressive pick with the operator. Now they know where she is. That's a lot of information given. It's a pretty good start here, and Hashira now have the opportunity to go ahead and push somewhere that they can. Now they know that there's a jet towards A with an operator. Will they go and commit towards B? There's only Mochi X here holding the close angle with the Phantom.
Would you say it's worth not shooting that bot there if you see it with an op? Like maybe just run out, get hit or something?
I think a lot of players would hold it for a minute, hold it for a second and take a couple of shots just to see if anyone swings, but it's also very risky. So personally, as a jet main myself, it's very conditional, situation based. If I'm feeling hot, maybe I'll wait a bit and try to get lucky. But if I know that the team on the other side is very capable of taking me down alongside the turret after getting tagged and slowed, I'm gonna shoot that turret dash on right out of there.
Got it. There's still the flank from the Killjoy there. So Key is still all the way onto A, but it looks like it's gonna be a B execute for Hashira here. But there's already 4 members of Renatus White on the side.
Oh, that's gonna be a tough read right there. They don't deal with Mochi X, who is in the close corner. Mochi X gets 2, doesn't even get downed here, as the response from Renatus White is just so surgical, clinical even. They have completely dissected the attacking side, stifled their pushes, and Hashira, they cannot stem the bleeding. It's all up to Key. She's going to save this Phantom for the very last round and a half.
They just want to try for that one last round. It's a 1v5 anyway. It's going to be difficult for her to really do this. I mean, no matter how clutch you are or how good you are, a 1v5 is just a bit too much.
Indeed, and regardless of how storied a player you are, whether you're a legend or not, a 1v5, tough ask of anybody. Key, while she's a great player, She goes with a smart decision. Drops that Phantom right on over. They carry over what little utility and what little money that they can into this upcoming run, so it's going to be a tough one. But if they can manage to salvage an 8-4, it might not be too bad here for Hashira. This is their map pick, and so they might be feeling a little bit more confident in the attacking side. So Envious, yet again with the aggressive play with the Operator, that's the second time they've gone for this in a row. Nobody there to punish her just yet. And Envious is going to go look for more. They know that there's low buy here on Hashira, and so they're going to try for more and more picks.
Yeah, but it looks like Hashira are really struggling to find these kills because Renatus White, they're just so disciplined. They try to get a little bit of information, but they're not exposing anyone at all. And then Alarmbot would even spot Kachao if she comes up, and Kefridadi should be ready for this.
Kefridadi has been really the one player on Renatus White that you want to be wary, that you want to watch out for here. That's a very good play right there. From Kachao, they actually take out that alarm bot, and that just makes things so scary right here for Renatus White. But as I say that, Kefridadi with a triple kill on the hold right there, able to just dismantle Hashira, stifling any push coming their way. Kachao's able to get one, picks up an Operator, but it's still a 1v3 as yet again Kachao will find another beautiful kill here, has enough for Blades. So this could be Kachao's moment in a 1v3. We're going to track her closely on this, but she has 3 massive kills to find and a lot of bodies. And this is going to be Kefridadi yet again with a 4-kill hold onto that A side. 3 at the very start and
Look
1
at
to
that
seal
scene.
off the other round.
That was her graveyard right there. Like, she just... I don't know how you hold that. There's 4 people pushing A lobby, and she takes 3 down at that point in time.
Yeah. Just... masterful read and hold here. And I think Hashira are struggling, if I may, with, I think, the utility usage. They're not clearing the close angles as well as they should. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that it is a Kaio on the other side. It's very hard if you don't have a Sky or a Sova, I think, to clear out those close angles. It's a little bit difficult for the KO to actually do it himself. So this is where Hashira are really struggling here. They have had so much problems even breaking through this one area onto A. The successful A takes that Hashira have had, those were splits from the mid to A, never really from that direct A hit.
Yeah, they normally like wait for a little bit and explode at the end, though that didn't work out all the time. Like they were ready for Plucky with that flank that one time. They tried to do it again, and basically they didn't have enough strategies to run against Renatus White on that attacking side to take that many rounds.
Now it's all up to Hashira to make the right call here. Can they make the right read? Rue, they're going to be creeping up here towards... That's a barrel the gun spotted out. Kachao, committing too hard on that one, and it's going to be punished. Unable to find the opening for her team. It's going to be the B side, which is in question right now. It's going to be the alarm bot dropped onto the other side here, but it's not really going to do that much to stifle, as it actually gets taken down by the right click of the classic by Kohibi. So that's a lot of pressure alleviated from the Renatus side. Now it's Hashira. Can they make this retake happen in a 1v4? It's going to be Envious with the flank. Misses a couple of opportunities. Eventually he gets the kill. Now they're just torn to shreds here. Hashira, as they're looking dazed and confused. They're taking bullets from every single direction, and they're looking like they don't know where to look right now.
Yeah, it's not looking good because on split, on defense, you can really string those rounds in. But if you lose a pistol round, it's still going to be a difficult defense. I mean, like you mentioned, the attack side has kind of started seeing developments, I would say, in split. That most teams are starting to win more on the attacking side. But I don't think they just don't have the lineup to do that. They didn't have the lineup to do that, at least on the side of Hashira. They didn't have the clean executes going to the sites, and now they're getting punished on the defensive side. And losing a pistol round really means a lot to them. And that's why are already on 10 points, and he is gonna get taken down. Lucky gets taken down as well. Mochi X takes Minji down, and it's not looking good for Hashira. Only one member left. Kachao with a shorty. Not much you can do.
This is one of those Thanos moments, you know, where you're like, did you get the orb? Yes. And what did it cost? Everything.
4 team members.
4 players go down. The timing on the smoke just wasn't there. It wasn't eco. However, so it's a little bit of a saving grace, I think. But I don't know, man. It was a little bit of a risky play from Hashira. It just didn't pay off. A couple of good ideas from them, but in the end, Renatus White not falling for any tricks, not falling for any aggressive setups. They just clean up around here. Kachao with a shorty. I mean, if she can find a couple.
Oh no. The second shot. Yeah, if she could have gotten one kill, it would have been great. But Kachao, you have to see more from this Jet. She's gonna have to step up to really help shut down Renatus White.
But
This
it's
is
just
their
so
Byron.
hard. It's just so hard on the defensive side as a Jet, though, especially when there's just so many players that are like really coordinated to make life difficult for you. But if Kachao can start off the rounds, like you said, with maybe an aggressive pick, that's gonna help her team massively.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see what they can do now that they have the Vandals.
That was the quickest melting wall that I've seen in a while. And Minji just like, I just put that down. And now it's gone. RTS so confident to just melt that wall, knowing that no one's going to be on the other side of it. A little bit of a whiff here. Aphrodite's able to get a capitalization onto Minji as it's going to be a 4v5. Aphrodite looking to storm their way onto side with the rest of her team. He is good for a hold, and that's an important kill to find here. Still around the corner, is unable to find any more. Now, it's still a 3v4 doable here, especially with the Vandals in their hands. But Kachao has to come up huge. It's a great entry onto that B side, opening things up here to allow them to get closer. Ruse right there for the trade-off here. And they even line it up right now because Lucky, she's able to get one. Right now, this 2v2 is looking very possible for Hashira. They know where one is, but can they find the decisive blow onto them? Spots the shoulder. Japeeps can't land the shot, but they do have to get onto site. Kohaibi makes one expensive. Tries to go for the swing out, and Japeeps with the double right there, saving Hashira. And yet again, we said, watch out for Japeeps. If anybody can clutch for her team, it's her, and she delivers. She lives up to it, rises to the occasion, and once more we'll find a victory for Hashira.
Yeah, I think I could feel the adrenaline going on in her arms there at the very end. She just jumped out of nowhere. This kill, the transfer, and really swinging to get that headshot onto Kohaibi. She needed that headshot. If she went for a body shot or didn't even kill Kohaibi in that single second, I think she would have gotten taken down there.
Is this a tactical timeout? Because if so, that is a great idea. There we go. Yeah.
Oh,
I do feel like Key. I feel like the tactical should have come out a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Honestly, but it's too late. Hindsight is 2020.
yeah. I mean, there were quite a few rounds down on that first half, right? So I think that really could have come a lot earlier, especially when they were already down. What was it, a 6-2? I think that timeout was already due. And well, if they can string some rounds in here, that would be great. But right now, looking at the economical situation, Renatus White still have a lot of credits on their
Yeah.
side. It's still enough for 3 full buys and 2 light armors. On the side of Hashira, just taking a look at the money right now, it doesn't seem like anyone else can actually buy here.
Yeah, and they're going for a very scrappy buy. This is what happens when you lose that very important gun round with so many players. It's just not looking pretty. They have to win a round on a very, very short buy. I mean, Minji doesn't even have armor.
Yeah, that's just straight up Vandal, nothing else there.
This is just looking so difficult here. Can they actually go ahead and secure that victory? A win on this round would be incredible for Hashira. But Renatus White, they're looking very confident in their ability to take this one. It's a good nade here for the meantime, as it does slow down the rest of it, but it's a good entry from Envious. And so does Aphrodite follow up with one. Now they're going ahead and double up on that aggression as they push towards spawn. Hashira might not be ready for this, so they have to deal with Aphrodite. Yet again, we'll find another good shot here. Lucky is able to get the refrag, but they've already managed to bring it to a 2v4. This could be a save call already for Hashira.
Yeah, they don't even have much information to go with. They've only seen one and then they've taken her down. And where are the rest of them? That's why it seems like they're gonna try to go for this retake actually. They switch out to the Vandals.
And this is a tough spot. Mochi X.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, the backup right there from Rue. The crossfire, so unforgiving. And Rue will find another headshot to close out this round. 12-4. Renatus White match point on Hashira's pick. And what can I say? Renatus, they're just looking unstoppable here.
Yeah, this is the Renatus White we expected to see in Open 5 that really fell a bit short in the playoffs. And I think they're really showing up this time around. They look like they're ready. They're sharp and they're extremely decisive.
Indeed, and if decisiveness is I'd say a measure of how good a team is, the Renatus, man, they are one of the best. Convincing rounds all throughout. Desperate play. Kachao, good headshot onto one. Japeep's nice trade-off. I like the aggressive attempt here, but it's punished equally by the caution and the awareness of RTS to know that a play like that could be coming their way.
You should run.
They don't even have the rest on Minji, so they can't even out the numbers here. Envious takes Pucky down. It's now down to 2v4. Minji with a headshot with the Sheriff Key with the Spectre as well. Evens things out.
She gets away.
Unexpected development here for Hashira.
This is a very good sign. Minji will be able to heal herself. Again, both of them don't have armor, so it's gonna be tough. There's a lockdown. Could be utilized by Key. They're gonna go for it because it's go for broke time. But the members, Renatus White, they've ensconced themselves here towards the spawn. They're going to be pushing towards heaven with 4 seconds left. Look at this. Keferdite might just be the linchpin. Coming from above, Keferdite, she could have the timing on everybody, but it just eludes her. She does get the lockdown out of play, out of position, though. So that is still going to be massive here as Mochi X, she finds that alongside Keferdite, who close out that round, and it's a 13-4, excuse me, with Renatus White securing the first game of this half.
Yeah, and Renatus White, dominant first game for them, 13-4. I mean, it didn't seem as fast as Alter Ego Celeste versus Wildfire Sphinx, but it was a very, very convincing game number one for them, and they look like they're clearly the better team against Hashira.
Yeah. Hashira, they did look like they had a couple of moments of inspiration on their attacking side. The A pushes looked, quite promising, and especially that split that they had towards A. But there is a lot of cleanup, I feel like, that they had to do. A lot of the rounds went to Renatus White when they shouldn't have. On the entries, they made the right reads. Yes, they did. Just didn't seem like they had the firepower or the utility to clear out those close angles. And I don't know if it's nerves from Hashira, but those shots that they should have won definitely went to bite them in the back.
Yeah, that's for sure. They were able to get into the sites, but they just weren't able to close those rounds. Like you mentioned, there is potential for the Hashira squad, and I really would like to see them improve more. I mean, we've seen Renatus improve, and they are looking way better at this open than the previous one.
Yeah, absolutely. But with that, we do have to take a little bit of a break here. I'm sure our teams would appreciate it as well. So sit tight, guys, because when we come back, game number 2 will be coming up, and it's going to be on Icebox. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Valorant Game Changers FSL Open number 6, and we've had a long journey before us, and it's nowhere near over yet. We still have things ongoing all the way up to Elite at the very end of the year. And to deliver that message for you, that news, it's going to be me, Illustrato, your caster here today alongside me, Key, where we just watched a 13-4 very dominant victory at the hands of Renatus White up against Hashira here. So let's break it down, Key. What exactly went wrong for Hashira in that previous game? Because it seemed like they started off strongly, Hashira. They were unable to keep that ball rolling.
I think we touched on it a little bit in terms of the strategy and the execution. They do have the strats, but the execution just wasn't that clean. And Renatus White, I think you mentioned in one of the rounds, they were there to really see if there's any gaps in the execution there. I think it was round number 2. I think you already touched on it. It was a premonition, it seemed like. When I think it was Kohaibi with that shorty there who got that kill, and then you mentioned, okay, this is where the holes are in the offense rather on Hashira, and then Renatus White since then have just capitalized on that by just pushing out with a little bit of aggression and then slowing things down. And Hashira just couldn't find a strategy to break Renatus' defense.
Absolutely, perfectly put right there. It just seems that Renatus White have very quickly adjusted at the very beginning of the match and never let that grip, that vice grip they had on Hashira go all the way to the end here. But let's take a little bit of a look at the player head-to-head We had Japeeps, who was the best performing player on the Hashira side, and Envious with 18 kills and a 1.9 KDA. Those holds from her on the operator, just so deadly. And I don't think Hashira found a way to deal with the operator of Envious. They started really struggling the moment it got on. And the first time that Envious got a hold of that operator, she got a 4 kill under her belt.
Yeah, and they're just really, really sharp and really decisive. Like we saw, I think it was in both sides. They would just push forward and look for kills. And I think that really just showed that Renatus White were ready for Hashira. They were ready, they were confident, and they really executed. They hit their shots, and that's what really made Hashira just not find any answers for the Renatus defense.
And it's not the easiest thing to deal with the operator of Envious, because she is a very, very good player. The aggression just keeps coming out time and time again, and Hashira was unable to find a solution to that. The couple of times that they did find an answer, they weren't really able to recreate the success that they did find here. And I think it boils down to a lot of experience. So coming into this next one, we're going into Icebox, which is Renatus's pick here. How are you feeling on this one, Key? Because from my perspective, if it's going to be more of the same, then Hashira might be in a world of hurt for game number 2.
I think Icebox is Renatus' best map that we've seen. We've seen them even in the previous iteration.
86.
Yeah, with even with Donut in the lineup, they really love Icebox, and I think that the only time they probably lost Icebox was to Alter Ego Celeste, which, that's how it goes, right? So if they're as sharp as they were on Split, Hashira better be ready with more executes. I mean, Split is a bit more unforgiving on the attacking side if you're not ready with strategy and execution. I think Icebox, they have a little bit more room to play with on the attacker side.
I'm actually going to disagree. I think that on Icebox, if you don't have a clear-cut plan on the attacking side, you're going to suffer. Because the defensive holds from Icebox, it can be very difficult because you could get pushed from so many different locations. And how often have we seen, defensive sides just pushing wanton destruction into their opposing attacking side? So it might be more of the same if Hashira don't find a way to nullify or to, stave off the aggression on the defensive side of Renatus White. But let's talk about that a little bit later. We're ready to go into the draft. So it's going to be game number 2 here. Hashira looking to make a comeback after that 13-4 defeat. And Renatus White, they will not let off that gas pedal.
Yeah, they are going to go with the Viper, of course, on Mochi X. And this is what we already expect from them. Unfortunately, I do believe Chloe, who normally makes her entrance on Icebox with a Sage, is not going to be playing today. Because she stepped down, I believe. So Renatus White are going to only have 5 players. They do not have that 6th member subbing in.
And it's a very interesting thing to, have. We're at this, I'd say, crossroads in the Valorant scene where we kind of decide, we have to figure out. A lot of the teams are figuring out whether they want to go for a 6-man roster where they play one certain player as like a specialist for certain maps. We've seen that in some of the local teams here. Oasis used to do this back in the men's squad. And a lot of other teams as well from the regional scene have been known to do this. And some players, they go the opposite way. They want to focus on a core 5. And they want to just develop that roster regardless of weaknesses of players on certain maps or not. And it's pretty much a toss-up situation, Key. And where we stand on it, there is just no definitive answer just yet.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, there's also that question of synergy, right? Sometimes a specific lineup synergy is better. Maybe you don't want to be splitting that up. There's also the question of whether the 6th member gets enough experience, or is the member subbing out getting devoid of that experience because a 6th member comes in sometimes. We don't really know whether that helps. I mean, there's also the counter argument, which is a 6th member can bring more energy into a team, especially in a long series.
There have been a lot of teams that have made it work, but I think the success has been found very few and far in between. But we'll see if that pays dividends now for both of these teams as they are focusing on that 5-man roster for now. Renatus White, they're starting on the attacking side. Hashira, they're starting on the defense here. They're going to be barreling their way onto that A site. Going to be spotted out here as a shock dart from Key is able to get a good opening pick onto Ivy, with the picks coming out all around as Japeeps and Key making things happen for Hashira. He has been spotted up trying to reclaim that ghost, and she pays with the price. 2v2 as Renatus White have found themselves a path into that A site.
Yeah, and that plant is gonna go down on the second floor of Nest. Plucky is gonna jump down. They're gonna hear where she is, but they're gonna have to take two 1v1 duels here. Kachao is gonna take down Mochi X, all down to Ru with a classic here. I don't think she has traps set up, so she's gonna have to. Oh, she does have a trap set up, but she's gonna get taken down by Kachao. They're just gonna wait this time out, and Plucky or Kachao.
Yeah, they're
One
gonna
of
have
them
to give it to her.
Thank you.
Okay, got it.
So really great start, honestly, from Hashira, and I actually think that starting in the defensive side might be a little bit of a better situation for Hashira, especially on a map that you're not 100% comfortable on, because you get to sort of slow down the pace, and you get to a little bit of an opportunity maybe to read a team like Renatus White a little bit more. You get to change your defensive setups and play a little bit more reactively, instead of when the ball is in your court on the attacking side and you have to come up with all these strats, and then Renatus White are pushing you from every defensive position you can.
Yeah, that's for sure. Plus, I mean, this is their side pick, and it looks like both Vipers really have some tricky lineups going on for them for both sides, even on attack, on defense. And there's that wall. Kachao sticking with a frenzy here, not buying up to the Spectre because she's gonna try to get the opening frag, dashes out to safety, uses the Cloudburst to try and get the safety. Minji is gonna get tagged down though. Kfredite is gonna take down Plucky with her ghost.
Oh, and look at Kfredite. She's just working that flank angle right there alongside her teammate, but she finally gets taken down. It's Kfredite to go down. Mochi X will definitely be healed up for now. Japeeps was able to close that one out here. Kohaibi with a beautiful headshot right onto Minji, and Kachao's right there for a refrag. Still a 3v2 as Japeeps will be scouting out from above. They'll be waiting for that timing.
Spike down.
As Japeeps
B.
yet again find a kill onto Mochi X, looking for a 4K. Japeeps will be allowed the opportunity to get that 4K in her possession. 4 kills to start off strong. The leader, the IGL of Hashira, leading by example at the moment.
Definitely great 4K from her. Kohaibi just not hitting the shots after that first kill, wasn't able to take Japips down. That was an eco round from Renatus White, so I think they're gonna be okay with that. They do buy up now, so it's gonna be the gun round for them. For Renatus, this is their map pick, so on this attacking side, they should be able to get this. It's rifles versus specters after all.
Yeah. And on a map like Icebox, you need those long-range guns. You need those. But it's all up to Hashira to sort of sneak their way into those close positions, those close angles, those positions where they can trade and make those crossfires effective and nullify the range of those Vandals. So it's not the easiest thing to do, but if they can find a way to do it, then Hashira might have a little bit of a hope and a chance at a dream. I love the Mage Punk bundle.
Here.
Yeah, it looks really good,
It's so
especially that
sleek.
colorway. Alright, Envious here, trying to push forward. Might be a little too close to the Hashira members. If they double peek this, she might be in trouble. The dash away to safety. There's the Viper wall coming out.
You fought.
And Envious gets Kachao, but Minji, again, the Spectre starts becoming more effective the closer you are. And Minji was able to get that headshot onto Envious, evening things out.
That's a big pick because that's the wall down. There's no way to wall off that post plant here. I mean, that plant. So Renatus White, they're in a little bit of a tough situation here. They might be able to get on the side. And Kohaibi getting that pick off, that's big here. Kefrodite working that flank, getting key right now, and they cannot deny the spike plant. Now it's a 2v4 here. 1v4 as Japeep's the only one left standing on her team here. Has a Spectre in her hands. And the Empress, if she so feels the need to use it, I doubt it for the meantime, but if Japeeps can get a couple of kills, can make things a little bit more expensive. The footsteps will be good. Not going to be able to get that kill there. Kefrodite too good on that flank position, finding 3 kills. And Hashira need to find a way to stop that lurk play coming in through that mid.
Yeah, she's definitely been what's letting Renatus White get into those sites, get the rest of Hashira distracted, because Kfredite is able to find herself in positions where it's just messing Hashira up. Like, they have to look at 2 angles because of Kfredite's flank, and that's what you really want, right? Like, you don't want to be in one side, making it very easy for Hashira to just take those duels, but they're looking at 2 sides at every single point in time because of Kfredite.
Yeah, they got to worry about so many things here. And if they can find a way, maybe then there is a chance here. It's a good recon dart that will spot out the Chow. And she's gonna get tagged up as well yet again. So a lot of information given onto Kachow's whereabouts. The teammates now will be coming into support. Rotation, however, that's gonna be deployed towards B. Was that a Empress? Yeah, it was an Empress right there from Kohai. No, sorry, from Japip. As they do rotate towards B, and they get the bitter Minji there. That's going to be the Viper gone from this equation. So it's going to be very, very difficult to stop this plant from going down. It's going to be a 4v5.
Yeah, and that early fake towards A really made the Sage rotate. It was Plucky who actually rotated all the way to the A side, which is why Minji was all alone on the B side, and because of that, it was an easy take for Renatus White, and now they're gonna have to go for this post plant.
Recon dart all the way to the back here. They can't break it. But still, Kohaibi's good enough to find 1 kill. That is still a tough situation. There is the Hunter's Fury available. Aphrodite holding alongside Envious on the back here. Be allowed to get onto that side wall. Be melted away, and so will Plucky be. It's going to be yet another clean round from Renatus White. And they're starting to build up steam here. Hashira, they've got to be a little bit careful as they're forced into another eco.
Yeah, definitely. The round was relatively pretty clean as well from Renatus White. They have 4 members alive, and that's gonna be really good for their economy. If you take a look at the creds, Kohaibi is the only one that needed to rebuy the whole kit because she's the one that got taken out. But the rest of Hashira, they don't have much creds. They have to save up for the next round.
The defensive side is going to be a tough ask. On these long angles here, they're going to have to play creative. Kachao is playing this very much 50-50 angle with Shorty. Sova on the other side is going to make it so tough. Has to swing out, misses the chance, and not dash away. That's just going to be it for Japeeps and Kachao as they try to make a play towards A, and it will crumble apart as the A side secured very much so. Now in the possession of Renatus. What?
Ooh. You saw the blonde hair at the very tip, yeah.
Oh my god.
Plucky getting K for that, even that Sheriff. She just wants to make it expensive at this point. See if she can get another headshot here.
Force a couple of rebuys, that's all they really want right now. And we'll be able to recover that Vandal. Can she make this Vandal expensive? Even more so for Renatus White. It's a 2,900 credit investment, and if she can actually even make it so that they lose a couple of players here, it's going to be all worth it. So Rue is going to be on the other side of this wall. Plucky hears the footsteps. Just doesn't have enough HP to make that challenge work. Envious will secure that round for her team, and it's going to be Renatus White with the leads.
Yeah, and the fact that they keep having 4 members alive going through every single round, they're really building up a big economy here. So even though it's a 3-2, it's a lot further than that. Like a 3-2 can be very close in terms of economy. But if you take a look at the side of Renatus White, they have enough to rebuy for 2 rounds in a row, even though they lose 2 rounds in a row.
The operator now finally coming into the picture for Kachao. How's she going to play it? She's going to go for an aggressive angle, I imagine, on towards that pipes angle. Yep, they're going to go for that aggressive peek. Nobody really availing themselves for it. Instead, it's the B side, which looks like the target for Renatus White for now.
And when you get that op, you really want to get that opening frag. So let's see if she can actually do this, because she rotated really fast to Snowman. So at least she has another chance to get the opening frag here. Misses the shot because she got revealed by the shock dart. Still is able to hold off the rest of Renatus White though. They're not inside yet.
Yeah, that recon dart really doing a number onto Kachao there, but the shot does go wide a couple of times. Will they be allowed to plant the spike? It's looking like the answer is going to be a yes. As right now, the retake will have to commence. A little bit of a difficult retake. There are 3 big ultimates here for Renatus White. No ultimates on Hashira's side. So they could use this, could it come to it. Aphrodite has the Hunter's Fury. We'll be playing all the way back. Not going to be deployed just yet because they're going to be spamming through it. They have to let go of the defuse. Might be working this angle. It's going to be taken down. Japeeps with a double. Eventually traded out. Now Key is going to be stepping up to the plate. They land it. And now it's a 3v1. But the Hunter's Fury is good from Aphrodite right now. But they don't even have it half. So this could be absolutely detrimental. As Kefrodite, they try to stick it, but what on earth has gone wrong now as Kefrodite yet again living up to her name of the Clutch Frodite. That was a 1v3, and she somehow yet again took a W on that.
Now, what went wrong was they left Kefrodite last, I think. That's just decreases your chances of winning. And that Hunter's Fury on Kachao, I think she wanted to go for the half there. I think getting the half would mean that they could actually get this. But because they couldn't get the half and Key was greedy to get that half defuse, Kefrodite was able to clutch around.
It's a little bit tough here. That was a little bit of a misplay here. I think a 1v3 like those are the ones that Hashira should be taking home, but fortunately it just wasn't. Now still 4 ultimates on the side of Hashira, but only pistols. They actually don't check a Chow on this one. She might... Nope, never mind. 2 blades already gone.
Her off. And it's not going to be much for the side of Hashira. It's a 2v5 right now. Only a Frenzy and a Sheriff in their hands. No more Blade Storm. I don't think the Hunter's Fury should be committed here. So they're just going to try to deal as much damage as they can.
Tight angle being held by Envious, making sure that only the head is exposed. But the head is all Minji needs right now as she lands a great shot onto Envious. Still with 4 kills to find. It's going to be a tough ask. Beautiful follow-up. Minji yet again. Minji finding 2, but that's all she can get. It's a great chance. It's a great round to force a couple of rebuys. But Renatus, the money's starting to matter very little because what counts for them, it's the rounds here, Key.
Yeah, and if you look at the scoreboard, Ru and Mochi X
rich.
don't really have to do that much. Like,
Oh, yeah.
the rest, Envious, Kohaibi, and actually Kefrodite, she's not on a duelist or anything, but this Sova is just doing so much for Renatus White.
Look, Kefrodite is just playing back. Playing far back, being the last one to live, and then just doing the clutch for Dite.
Standing ahead.
Yeah,
Now-
I think they realize that. That's why they keep her the last alive.
Headshot.
Okay.
Great
Kachao.
push right here. Kachao will be able to land onto 1. Ru will follow suit shortly thereafter. And that's a great smoke to help her teammate get out of that precarious spot. Now it's a 3v5. And this is a great opening aggression here for Hashira. And they will level up even more. They'll double down on their aggression, having Plucky close. Can't get the follow-up, but still, it's trades abound as Kohaibi finds a double here. There is no more res. Plucky has gone down, so it's still a 3v2. And with Kefrodite still alive, still always a scary prospect.
Yeah, still scary. It's Kohaibi as well, right? Like, you have your top 2 players still alive. Japips, though, is going to be right there as the plan goes down. There's a Hunter's Fury being used. Detects Kohaibi. It's tagged really low. 12 HP on Kohaibi right now. Kefrodite is still full. They have a rough idea of where she is.
Standing.
And Kohaibi gets taken down. All down to Kefrodite on his 1v3. Can she clutch?
Flash to the face, but gets behind it. Kefrodite with 9 HP is able to make it a little bit more of a challenge here as Key finds the final blow, and it's a solid round for Hashira as they bring out the aggression, and it really pays dividends up against Renatus White.
Yeah, you really want to get these rounds right because Renatus White, they built up a bank, and for Hashira, the rounds are what they need to actually get back into this game. It's 5-3 right now. It didn't feel like a 5-3 because just now it looked like Renatus White was going to run away with the game. But that was a great round for them with the opening from Kachao.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the Hashira men's team back when they started. Hashira brought out these wonderful aggressive plays.
Yeah.
And eventually over time, the more that they found that success, the more they found that chemistry, the more they were able to win those games. And if they can keep things going, if Hashira SR can keep things going, they might just be a championship level team here. But Kachao, good on the refrag, finding Kohaibi, one of the biggest kills you can get, one of the best players on the Renatus White side has already fallen. But they're just going around. They're going towards B. And they're getting that res off on the Hashira side, so it's now a 5v4.
Yeah, and they can't get the rest onto Kohaibi because she's a bit too far and the Sage is all the way here on B. There's the Killjoy lockdown being committed as well, and the spike is still gonna go down.
4 seconds left. Kefrodite, they finally snuff her out. They know she loves to play that lurk there, and so they finally managed to make her pay for it. The Viper's Pit will prove to be a challenge. And the two players from Renatus White completely out of the picture here. Rue tried to deal with the flank coming in by Kachao.
Will not kill
Kachao staying alive for now. That's the lineup right there. Mochi X only gets one. I thought it would be more, but the Viper's Pit now out of the equation, now gone. And this is a chance here for Hashira. Can they stick it out? Oh no, they've gotten Black Envious from the back. Japeeps is aware enough. Can they land the final blow here? Two players left standing. The time is ticking away. They don't have enough, and they gotta book it. They gotta run. 4 kills on Japeeps, but can't even survive the round long enough. And that was a very, very scrappy round from Renatus White, and Hashira take a big loss on it. But a win is a win at this point, 6-3.
Yeah, 63, and they, again, we mentioned this a few rounds ago, they do have the bank for this, so that win is going to be all good for them, because look at this. They all have 2,000 creds and above, and full buys with every single member. On the side of Hashira, it's a reset for them. So 6-3, you're down 3 rounds, and you just got reset. It's going to be really difficult for them to keep this going.
Watch this.
3 rounds in a row, and the economy is just looking in tatters here for Hashira, as they have yet again failed to string a couple of rounds together. And this has really been the story of Hashira up against Renatus White. They get a couple of stray rounds left and right, but never really had the decisive of finishes here. Now Kachao looking to play this close angle, but will be denied by Kohaibi, who's already ready for it. This is one of the cleanest A sites that you've ever seen here. The wall denies Kohaibi the kill. Actually, that should have been a kill, but Kipperday right there to pick things up. Apes with a great aim to find 1 kill. But that's all they're going to get. 1. As Hashira will once more fall to the hands of Renatus White in a 7-3.
Yeah, they didn't really need that wall, because Kohaibi already had that angle, but it's kind of one of those things, yeah, like, just in case.
Just in case.
Alright, lots of money on the side of Renatus White. They have enough to sustain themselves for the next 2 rounds. Meanwhile, Hashira, they're forcing out a full buy here. Key with a Spectre for this round. Should be able to buy for the next round, though. I think she's doing this so she can buy her teammates a full gun in the next round in case.
They have 5 rifles, Renatus White. And Hashira, oh, they're grasping at straws here. 2 SMGs in their possession. Plucky can't even get a full buy. Can't even get armor. So it's going to be a tough economic prospect for them. Renatus White, though, they will be going towards that B side where Minji will be looking to deny them. But they've given up yellow. They've given up so much onto the side already. That goes down so quickly. That wall might just be an opportunity for them. Minji, great damage onto Envious, though. Can't find a kill for now. Looking to swing wide, and swing he does, but Kohaibi right there for the punish. As the backup from Renatus White, no man left behind. As they cover the flanks and cover the backs of the retreating teammates as they make their way towards A.
Yeah, oh, Envious.
Oh, what a
that was a
shot.
drive-by onto Japips.
Yeah, that was just a run and gun right there, and this is the worst way to go in this game. One of the worst ways to go in this game. Just getting dry peaked like that, and suddenly you're left rocked.
And they know that Kohaibi is still behind on B. Takes Plucky down still, even though they know where she is. They're gonna have to take her down. Kachao finally takes her down with 30 HP on her against 3. Tall task for her, but she's gonna make it work. Aphrodite is gonna get taken down, and now it's down to 1v2. Both members on Renatus White are relatively low, but she checks the wrong angle. Rue was actually on top. That 50-50 secures round number 8 for Renatus White.
It's a great try. Great try by Kachao there, but you know, those 3 kills will help her get to her ultimate. I think she might have it up already, or almost. Should be maybe 6. No. Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Never mind. I take that back. Will not have the ulti, but they will have guns. So this will be a little bit of a, I'd say, saving grace here for Hashira, as they found themselves with the potential to go for an 8-4. And if it ends up in an 8-4 for Hashira, it might not be all that bad.
Yeah, I mean, let's see if they can actually pull this off. Kachao with the aggressive angle yet again, but Aldrone just barely sees her in the corner there. So gets her tagged, gets away with the dash. Envious takes Minji down for an opening frag though. And almost died there, but Minji, I think only with a Spectre, wasn't able to do enough damage. And it's going to be a B execute.
Yeah, this is a 1B player that Hashira has, the dedicated B player, and already down for the count. Minji does get punished. Now, we'll be looking for more here, Envious, as Keferdite and Mochi X, they do the work that is needed. Heavy lifting, not that heavy after all, is key. Able to get one,
Enemy remaining.
walks straight into the crosshair of Envious, who was trying to get that advanced position. Now, Plucky dropping down. Will allow Envious a 9-3 scoreline.
No
3
touch.
kills for her. And Hashira are behind by
Switching
6.
sides.
It's not a very good looking side, good looking half here. But if Hashira can make something happen on the attacking side, it's going to be a miracle.
Here.
Yeah, it just looks really difficult for them. They do have 2 duelists, so I think that they can make this work if they have the execution for it. If they're ready, at least. Or at least the strats, or being able to execute against Renatus White is going to be difficult. Like you mentioned, Icebox, you need some proper execution to get into the sides here. You need to be fast, because otherwise someone might be flanking.
Have a little bit of, Hashira struggled on their attacking side in the previous game. See if they can do a little bit more of the same here as they go around and try to make a play towards A. It looks like it's going to be a full send here. Have all of their members going straight at it. Nobody playing close, but that recon is going to give some information to Renatus White. And playing in this orb, Gachao already brought down a little bit low here. Will be survived by that double shock dart onto that orb.
Yeah, if she just went on pushing, she would have just eaten those both darts. But they're still looking pretty healthy under Renatus White, but there's 4 members on the A side, so they might be able to defend this.
A little bit of time being bought here by Renatus White as they look to stop Hashira from advancing onto the site. They do have a player watching that flag from Hashira. And oh no, Mochi. Kachao doesn't expect it, but Minji's good for a trade. Minji looking for more, but the right click from Envious is fierce. Fierce enough to force Hashira back into rotation towards that B site.
Yeah, and it's good read from them to actually full send towards B. There's only 1 member on the B side now, slowly rotating in. But the rest of Renatus White are actually rotating as well, so let's see if they can actually get the spike down.
Turret destroyed.
Oh, the spike is actually being planted right now, but after that deployment of they're going to reposition for a second, and it goes down. So good start here for Hashira. But from up on above, it's going to be Envious to just land onto Plucky's head, essentially Goombaing her. Spike will be diffused for now, but it's going to be Japeeps and Key to make plays happen. And in a 1v1, it's Rue yet again with a classic. Keferdite, step aside for now. It's my turn to clutch. And Renatus find themselves at double digits, 10-3.
Yeah, that was a sick double dink onto Key there. I think Key wasn't ready for that. I think she was still looking at the other side. Rue just doubled her kill count. She only had 2 coming into that round.
So this is where it starts to get a little bit worrying here for Hashira, because like they're so behind. And wait, let's just take a look at this. Pew pew pew.
Oh, she was looking close, like a tight angle.
But in any case, I did want to point out Hashira, they have struggled, I'd say, closing out those rounds. And when it comes to the late parts of the round, to the end of the round, that's when they start making mistakes here. But oh, that dink. Beautiful shot from Michelle. See, this is the thing. Hashira, they have the aim, but they just can't. I feel like they just lack the experience as a team to convert the rounds where they find those openings.
Yeah, I can see that, because they're getting the kills left and right. But after that, they just can't continue that. They're getting opening frags, they're getting starting kills, but they just can't convert.
And they're getting read like a book right now as the kitchen play falls apart. The 2 players left standing, it's Key, Plucky. And Plucky's already gone. Plucked out of the equation. Key, great shot. Do you see what I mean? They land these ridiculous kills.
Yeah.
And they have great aim. So aim is not the problem for Hashira. Oh, the teabags.
That's a team teabag.
Team teabag.
Yeah, that was Rue.
That's rude. No, I'm just kidding.
So it's actually really, I mean, I think they're having fun here.
Yeah,
They're
are.
100% having fun here. But like you mentioned, Hashira, they have the aim. Like, we saw Key on that ghost. Almost got a double kill there, just because of a sharp aim. It's just that they're really falling short when it comes to, like, what do you do after that first kill?
it's really the mid rounds that they start to struggle on. And I feel like it's because they start to panic when it comes to it's really an experience thing, and you can't coach this. You know, you can't coach them into better experience. They just have to get that experience.
Yeah, you really gotta feel for it. Like you gotta develop that sense, right? That game sense of what to do after post plan, and at the pace of this level of play.
They have to get used to playing against teams like Renatus White, who are so ready to take a fight after losing one. And I think this is really throwing a curveball onto Hashira. Might not be so ready for it now. As Chow will get a good spot onto one, but he's not able to land the kill. 81 HP will fall back, and they're going to make an approach here towards the B site instead, as the rotation will come in.
Rue is all alone on the B side. If they can get her, they should be able to win fairly easily.
Oh,
And
no.
Kachao can't convert that kill. Rue gonna take one down, gets a headshot onto Key as well, taking her down really low. It's gonna be trades left and right here. Key is down to 6 HP. Did get a headshot with that Vandal.
A little bit strange for me that Plucky was just standing out in the open, I think. A little bit of a misplay, I think, or a miscommunication here. But with 12 seconds left, they're gonna have to come up huge. Japeeps is there in a 1v2 though, but with 6 seconds left, he has to be, I don't know, it has to be a god in order to survive that and get the plant off. Match point here for Renatus White, and they are looking very much comfortable here. It might be an even bigger win than the previous game, because the last game was 12-4. This is looking like it could be a 13-3. Sorry, the last game was 13-4.
Yeah. Gun situation not very good as well. Kachao only with a Spectre. In fact, 4 Spectres here on Hashira. Only Minji with a Vandal. No Jet ult either. Japips does have the Empress, but that's about it.
Last chance for Hashira to get into this game here and make a statement. They will not be eliminated just yet. They still have the lower bracket to work through. And they have been met with stiff opposition, indeed, in the form of Renatus White. Kachao, great opening pick here, finding a second, and it's yet again Kachao with a second, but cannot find the third. It's still gonna be Kohaibi yet again, and in this 1v3, it's Key. Key has been a crack shot thus far. Can't she even recover the spike? Can't she even get close to it? As the Hunter's Fury will be tapping away, but now they know where she is. And I don't know, man. Key, this is difficult. Not
Yeah,
Key,
she is
this is a
Spectre.
different Key.
Yeah. With a Spectre, I'm not sure how much she can do. They're pushing her out just to make sure she can't use her Hunter's Fury, and Kohaibi is going to finish it off. 13-3 for Renatus White. Dominant series against Hashira here.
There's so many keys in this game. There's like you, there's Key,
There's Key, and there's
Kiki.
Kiki.
Yeah. A lot of you people here.
Yeah.
You people. But it's a great game for Renatus White. They have proven that they have become a solid team, and I like the fact that I'm happy to see the growth. They're not I'd say, I don't want to use the word choking, okay, but they have been finding the clean victories at the end of the round, which they have been struggling on before. Because, you know, you look at the history of Renatus White, a lot of their games came down to very, very close situations, and they were struggling from it. But now they're looking a lot cleaner and a lot more, I'd say, crisp than they were in previous appearances.
Yeah, and a lot of Renatus White fans in the chat as well, really cheering them on. But you could tell they were really a lot sharper, a lot more confident this time around. Every single move was really decisive, and that made a difference here in the series against Hashira. Hashira looked a step slower, and Renatus White really capitalized on that. They were so much faster, so decisive in rotating, executing sites, being able to swap sites and fake them. Renatus White were really ready this series, and I want to see them bring this all the way, and I want to see them challenge Alter Ego Celeste.
I think this is the period in time when a number 2 team would be very much considered, because ever since before it's been like Alter Ego Celeste and then everybody else fighting for number 2. This is a really good chance for Renatus White to be that number 2 team, and maybe even steal away a game from Alter Ego Celeste, because Alter Ego Celeste, they have been having perfect runs. Literally, they haven't lost a single open this entire FSL, this entire VCT Game Changers.
They
And
haven't even
I'm-
dropped the lower bracket.
They've never dropped a lower bracket. So this could be the perfect run for them. They're looking for that perfect 7 sweep.
Yep. And for Renatus White, let's see if they can really show up this time around. Like you mentioned, it was just one and the rest of FSL. And Renatus White, if they can even bridge that to be a 1-2 and the rest of everyone else, I think that's a good enough achievement for Renatus White.
Yeah, indeed. But we do have to take a little bit of a breather here, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we have, I'd say, the wrap up at the very end of the day. Of course, that's going to be with Terror. And any last thoughts, any last words, Key, before we go into the end of the show?
Well, I just think that Clutch for Deity is a destiny that's kind of manifesting itself, and I just love to see it. Renatus White really showing up, really proud of how far they've come.
Yeah, indeed. But unfortunately, that's been it for us. We got to go into a short break. Again, I'm Ilustrado. This is Key beside me. But when we come back, it's going to be me and Eliza Terror to finish off the day here at the FSL in the Valorant Game Changers. We'll be back in just a second. Oh, my. Well, I can hear you on my end, but let's double check. Sorry, guys. We might be having a little bit of a technical issue. So, yeah, go back into it here as I'm going to be stalling for Terror. So, okay.
Check if I am actually. And going to what you were saying. Okay, finally I'm back. I'm really sorry for that tech issue, and I'm sorry that I wasn't around you, Ilu, but I just wanted to go back into that question again. And like I said a while ago, Hashira started off really strong on map 1 and even on map 2 and those pistol rounds that they had. Where do you think did it falter? And knowing that, of course, they just joined in, going into Open 4 and qualified immediately, do you really think that it's just about the experience?
Yeah, I do think a lot of it has to do with the experience. I mean, you come to those late stages of the rounds. When you go into the late rounds, into the very ends of it, when the clutch situations, that's when your team starts to shine with the experience. And this was very, very much exemplified in the games that we just witnessed earlier on. Even if Hashira started a lot of those rounds with the first picks, even if Hashira was getting good map control and good positioning, when it came down to it, when the push comes to shove, it really was all about Renatus White knowing how to do the dance alongside Hashira and coming out as the dominant team.
They really showed their groove there, as I would say, Ilu. And also, there was just so much aim duels with Icebox and with such a big map. If you were to differentiate Renatus White from Hashira and between how they played it out, of course, this is a map picked by Hashira, if I am not mistaken. How can you differentiate them?
For me, it just comes down to the fact that Hashira has good ideas on the attacking play. But unfortunately, when it comes to waiting and setting up those crossfires, a lot of it, they come down to, I think, errors. Small unforced errors. We saw them unable to clear out close angles. We saw them unable to really close out, I'd say, map control that they really needed in their possession. And I think that's what separated these two.
Oh, that is definitely it, 100%. I just want to say Renatus White just showed complete dominance over the two maps that we just saw. And knowing that Hashira is just starting to get in there, getting those chemistry back, the synergy for the team as well, and knowing how they are positioned right now for the FSL Open, I really think that going towards the lower bracket right now and facing off with this team, speaking of brackets, let us pull up our brackets so we can definitely see what's happening here in our circuit right now for FSL playoffs day number 1. Of course, with Hashira losing against Renatus White, they're going down to the lower bracket, facing off Wildfire Sphinx. Now, Ilu, looking at the matches that we just saw earlier as well, I really think that this is a very interesting combination or a team matchup that we are about to see in the lower bracket.
Yeah. The lower bracket should be, I think, quite interesting as well. We'll be covering it over the coming days. We'll be definitely keeping an eye on that. WFX versus Hashira. That's going to be an interesting one. After the fight that we saw from both of these teams, this might actually be one of the closer closer games that we'll be seeing here. I think Hashira might have an edge over WFX, but still, it should be a interesting game to watch. One of the matches that I am very much looking forward to, though, however, is going to be Alter Ego going up against Renatus White. These two teams have really been at it ever since the inception of this FSL, ever since the very beginning. This is one of those things that can RTS finally do it against Celeste.
Oh my god, this is also going to be a very interesting match for tomorrow, of course, that we are about to see Alter Ego Celeste and Renatus White going up against each other and the lower on the lower side of the upper bracket. Though the games are still happening right now, but as far as I'm concerned, GXR won their first game against Big Scythe, and it's still ongoing right now. Now, Ilu, to close things off, especially for this day number 1 that we had, it was a speed run for both matches that we just saw, for both series that we just saw, and just showing complete dominance with these two teams that we have. Will they dominate? Okay, I'm not gonna be here tomorrow, Ilu. I just want your predictions for tomorrow. What do you think will happen tomorrow? Upper bracket.
Oh, I think it's gonna be Celeste all day. I mean, I would be remiss if I said that Alter Ego Celeste weren't gonna sweep the competition. I think Alter Ego Celeste are the best team for a reason, and it's going to be more of the Alter Ego Celeste show tomorrow.
Whew, that's what we are going to be figuring out tomorrow. And also a quick update on the Oasis match versus ARC or ARC. They are on to a 1-0 on the side of Oasis as well. So lots of teams here have been asked with a specific question, which team are they looking forward to meet or actually try to compete with? And it's always, I kind of see the name Oasis always around those interview questions that we had. But that's finally it for today. Day number 1 for our Valorant Game Changers here in the English stream. Don't worry, because there is also our Indonesian stream. And just check out the page basically for FSL if you want to keep yourself updated with the games that are happening. Any last thoughts, Ilu?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what we have tomorrow. But for me, last thoughts, please check out the rest of the games. We got the Thai stream, the Indonesian stream happening. They're covering those games, and I'm gonna tune in right to those the moment
We're
this
gonna
broadcast
watch.
ends. Yeah, we're gonna hell yeah.
Immediately hopping into the streams that we have for other FSL matches that we have right here. But that's finally it for the English stream. Congratulations, of course, for Hashira going lower bracket, but congratulations towards our teams who won for today. And that is gonna be it again for today, Ilu. It was a speed run. It was nice seeing you. That's 1 minute. I'm gonna see you tomorrow. This is Taylor, your panel host. This is Ilu, your casters. And in behalf of Key as well, thank you so much for tuning in here at FSL, here in the English stream as well. Have a good night, and let's head on to the other streams that we have.